Hello and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast Live. Tom and I are here with you this week. Got plenty to talk about. Plenty to talk about. Linda Hogan is back in the how should we say wrestling verse with her drama. Darby Allin prepares to climb Mount Everest. Kevin Owens to miss WrestleMania, significant amount of time possibly. Ray Fenix makes his debut. Tiffy and Charlotte in Chicago will forever go down as one of the worst segments in SmackDown history. Tom and I have all this to talk about, plus a bunch more. We'll catch you on the other side. Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
At least we're not wearing the same color this time. We are both wearing hoodies.
Well, I mean, it's rather frigid for April.
Yeah, it's fucking cold. That's why I'm wearing a hoodie.
You know,
although technically my shirt on underneath is the same color as your hoodie.
Wow, I mean, how are the Into the AM hoodies?
This was actually it was one of those, like, I was going through and like in checkout, they're like, hey, do you want to add this to your cart for $20? And I was like, for $20, it has to be a nice hoodie, right? And then you go in and it's like, it was just this color. And it was like, I could get small or triple extra large. And I'm like, well, they're probably kind of form fitted anyway. And I like my hoodies a little bigger. So I went with that. And honestly, it's great. It's soft. It fits big. Like it's definitely a size too big, but like, that's how I like it. That's how I like hoodies. So it feels good. And the hood is real big. Like it comes all the way over the hat of the brim of my hat.
Nice,
so
nice.
I'm a big fan of that. So
yeah. See, I gotta have a.
Yeah, it fits like that.
I'm very much with you. So this way, in this one, this is one of the Carhartt ones, right? I got it for Christmas. It was a gift from my mother-in-law, and it's probably one of my favorite hoodies because it's nice and it feels light, but it's like super heavyweight and super warm, cozy. And when it's shitty out, I can do this, and you see it's got the foundation here so that it actually stays poofed out when it's over your piece of fashion engineering right here in this Carhartt hoodie.
Yeah, I think these are good. I would recommend this. But it feels exactly the way you think it feels after you've worn their clothes. It feels exactly the way you think it feels, and it fits exactly the way you think it fits.
Okay, all right. I appreciate the feedback on that. Shout out to Into the AM, man. Not a sponsor, but they fucking should be.
They should be.
Tom
we wear this shit every day.
Yeah, I mean, their logo's on this show every single week.
More or less. One of us is wearing it.
Yeah.
You turned me onto it, and I'm like, all right, this is all I'm wearing now. I'm done. I'm done trying to put other clothes on.
Need to get those everyday pant up to a size 44 for the big boys. Because I will be all over those if I can.
I need to get more t-shirts. I have a lot of the long sleeve Henleys that I like because it's fucking cold here in Pittsburgh 7 months out of the year. So I pretty much wear those for 7 months out of the year, but like I need a few more t-shirts.
Yeah. So you get on that. The bundle pack, get like one of every color.
Yeah, they just have the bundle pack has only been like $2 or $3 off a t-shirt lately. So I'm like, I'll just wait because I know I'll get one because I got a Bentley pack where it was like $10, $12 off or something for like the Henleys, and I'm like, this is the way.
So Into the AM, shout out to you guys. Fucking love your shit. Anywho, hey man, a lot happened this week.
Yeah, I watched a lot of wrestling.
I really didn't.
There's wrestling on right now that we're not watching.
Is there?
Yeah, AEW Dynasty is on right now. It started 3 hours ago or whatever. It'll be on.
That's a bummer.
4 hours.
So that's a bummer. That means nobody's gonna tune in and give us.
I mean, does everybody watch AEW that listens to us? I feel like they just tune in to hear us go. AEW sucks, huh? Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's probably fair too. I don't know, man, but a lot happened this week.
Dynamite was a snooze fest. So
Well, that's no surprise. That seems to be par for the course with AEW on their go home shows. I feel like they're always very, very lackluster whenever they should be at their absolute strongest. But um, I'll tell you what, man, some of these things that happened this week really make you take a step back and go, what the fuck
is going on?
is going on?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I saw a report the other day that Darby Allin just did an interview or a blurb or an article. I don't fucking know. And he was asked about his Mount Everest climb. So I guess we're still fucking doing this, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's gonna die on Mount Everest. I think somebody keeps trying to put him off of doing it, but
but he's scheduled to start his climb April 25th. And they say it takes 2 months to do for experienced climbers. And it could take quite a bit longer for somebody such as inexperienced as him.
He's gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've already had this conversation.
He's either gonna die or he's gonna quit after like a week or so and just come back.
Because remember last year he was supposed to do it, and he was supposed to leave for the airport to catch his flight in like 2 days or some shit, and he got hit by a bus in New York City.
That's right, he got hit by a bus.
So
well,
I don't know.
Hope he gets hit by a bus again, and because that bus saved his life. I don't know how many more times he can get hit by a bus, and that bus can save his life, but it happened once.
Yeah, but he's just gonna continue to be reckless in the wrestling ring for, some folks' entertainment.
Somebody's entertainment.
I mean, throwing himself all over the fucking place, and I mean, I think it's safe to say at this point in time, the only thing that is worth a damn in AEW is Swerve Strickland. MJF still, has to be in the Hurt Syndicate, right? Like,
so MJF and the Hurt Syndicate act. We can actually start there. Like MJF was weirdly off his game on Wednesday, and like, so I got kind of the vibes of because obviously MJF, AEW original, one of their only like homegrown stars.
Well, he's a pillar.
He's a pillar, right? So he really was put in his place on Wednesday by Bobby Lashley. And I like Bobby Lashley, and I like the Hurt Syndicate, and I like everything that's going on around that. He was put in his place by Bobby Lashley, and it really felt. You remember when like Hulk Hogan and Sting and everybody sort of showed up in TNA, and like immediately Samoa Joe and like AJ Styles and everybody sort of became second fiddle to those guys. It really felt like it really had that vibe to me. Really felt gross because I like everybody involved, but it really felt like, look, we're here now. Let's let the professionals do it. And it really and like MJF looked totally out of his comfort zone and off his game, and it really felt to me like that was sort of the like it like struck me wrong. You ever just like see something or hear something and like something clicks in your head, or like it feels like a plucked guitar string in your head, and you're just ooh, and it really kind of like gave me that vibe, and it was just really kind of one of those things. It was like, oh, I don't like that. Luckily shortly after that there was the Swerve versus Mox, and it was like an intergender tag match. It was actually kind of cool. Because Willow really was able to lead Marina Shafir through a lot of stuff and kind of make that match look okay. Marina Shafir still looks green as hell, which is weird because I feel like she's now kind of been doing this between NXT and AEW for a long ass time.
Yeah, but I mean, how much in ring time does she actually really truly get? She
would have got a lot of training in NXT.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're not having her do regular work at whatever their power center or whatever their training shit is. I don't know if they're not having her do regular.
It's called the Independence. That's their training shit.
Right. So, I mean, I think that she still looks real green, but it makes sense to have somebody like Willow Nightingale be able to sort of walk her through more difficult spots and kind of set them up for her, because Willow can manhandle her. And I think that was really the sort of the story of that, is that like, oh, all of this looked good, but it was very clear that Willow was in charge the whole time. And Willow looked strong. So that was it. It was like Willow was in charge, and Willow has put in the work. And looks like she knows exactly what she's doing. And that's how that match came off. Obviously Swerve and Mox is a breath of fresh air coming out of this Mox and Cope thing. A breath of fresh air as far as the AEW world title picture is concerned. And I really hope they put that title back on Swerve, because Mox's title run has been just a dumpster fire. It really has been. It has not been top guys.
Started out great.
It has not been top guys doing top guy shit. It started out with a very you're right, because the Death Riders were cool. We're not lame yet, and it was like they put it on Bryan Danielson, and it was like, God damn it, really, fucking Bryan Danielson. And it's like, this is my last run as a full-time wrestler, and it was what, like 38 days or something stupid like that. It was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And they put it on Mox, and it was like, all right, well, that feels kind of better, at least. Like, put it on the stalwart of the company, the guy who's been, the mainstay. But man, this Death Riders run really got stale real fast. And so I hope it's over. I hope it's over tonight. I'm sure it hasn't happened yet, but I hope it's over tonight.
Well, I mean, only time will tell, but
we'll know tomorrow, or we'll know before we go to bed tonight.
For sure. Hey, thanks for hitting us up there, Random Edits 1515. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just not been good, right? Like, it's just not been good. And
this last month, those segments have been a pain to watch. In what has otherwise has been not bad. I'll put it that way. Like, AEW has had some real low points. They are not in the lowest point right now. Like, they are on an uptick, and I'm hoping that if Mox drops the title tonight, it continues said uptick and maybe like starts to peak a little bit again and gets a little bit better, because it's right now not. It's been, weirdly enough, like since Sting retired, particularly bad.
Well, I mean, you gotta imagine he had some sort of influence backstage, right? Like,
I guess, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. But yeah,
maybe he was the one whispering sweet nothings into Cocaine Tony's ear and saying, "Hey, man, you really need to tell him no."
Yeah, maybe he said, "Don't do that shit. That's retarded."
I just don't get that part of it. But
yeah,
I mean, maybe that's all fair in love and war.
It's not good. It's hopefully it gets good again, and I hope somebody's there making something good happen. Like I said, the Hurt Syndicate's been fantastic. Other than this week, kind of felt like they buried MJF a little bit, but maybe that was just MJ. It just might have been just a 1 segment thing. Until it becomes more than a 1 segment thing, I'm just gonna let it go. But like 1 segment was like, ooh, I don't like that. All right. Anyway.
Well, we shall see. I really hope that like MJF doesn't get put into a place where he can't continue to entertain us. So
maybe he's on his way out. Who knows?
Well, he just signed that big extension. I mean, there's no way out on anything. But he is in the new Happy Gilmore movie.
He is,
and
allegedly.
I'm excited to see that. Well, he did media for
it. Right, but like he did media for the Iron Claw, and his segment was cut down to like 30 seconds. So,
oh, well, that's fair too. I guess I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, you could see if you're like looking for him, you can see him, but he doesn't get to talk. You see his face like twice.
Well, I mean, he did say on Sports Illustrated, their podcast, that he had scenes with Sandler. So we'll see We'll see if that was kayfabe Max or if that was real world Max.
We'll see if they also if they exist. We'll see if they don't get cut on the end up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, yeah, possibility as well. Um, so speaking of Swerve Strickland, bro, what happened this week? I saw you
Oh, with
sent some
Booker.
dust up with him and Booker.
So with Booker, so I've got this pulled up here. So Booker T said he approached Swerve Strickland at an event in Virginia face to face after Swerve's recent comments about him. If you'll remember, Swerve was very critical about Booker T and his treatment of when with all the Hulk Hogan stuff and with the Vince McMahon, using the N-word in front of him and all that stuff. So what Booker had said was, I approached Swerve Strickland and I had a conversation with Swerve Strickland. I had an offer to be on Vlad TV, which is where Swerve was very critical of Booker, was on Vlad TV before as well, and I turned it down. They called me back and they offered me money to go on Vlad TV, and I turned it down because I was not going to go on Vlad TV and be exploited. This is Booker saying this.
Okay.
I wasn't going to go on Vlad TV and have him make me look like a fool in front of the world. I was not going to do that. I wasn't going to go on Vlad TV and say anything negative towards any black man that's ever been in this business, because I know how hard it is for all of us. I've been the first one saying it, and brother, getting his bag, I'm all in 100%. I told Swerve Strickland to his face how disappointed I am in him as a young brother, because all I did for Swerve Strickland was put him over and put him on a pedestal as being one of the best out there, that he deserves to be the AEW champion. And for him to say something like that about me, I don't know if these guys think racism stopped in 1990 when I got in the business, but it didn't. You may hear about a lot of racial issues with Booker T because I handled racial issues hand first. I opened doors. I broke down barriers for people like Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland would perhaps not even be here if it wasn't for me. You speak on Vince McMahon and him saying the N-word. You want me to be an angry black man in the company. You want me to not open doors and make spaces for people like you. And that's what you want me to do, Swerve Strickland. I hope you're never going to be in the movies. I hope you're never going to be in a movie set, because you might hear somebody say the N-word. And if you've got a problem with it, they're going to tell your ass to get the hell out of here. This is a movie, all right? I'm upset because, more importantly, I'm disappointed in Swerve Strickland, because what I told him, I'll repeat just like I repeated to him. You got played. You got played, bro. You got played. You let that man, Vlad TV, play you and pitch you against me and me against you. And that was on his Hall of Fame podcast. So Booker not too happy with what Swerve had to say about him on Vlad TV. I don't know, that kind of struck me in a way. I was like, I guess that makes sense. Because if anybody else saying that, I don't know how much credence it holds, right? But like, Booker T, man, has been a top guy, more or less. They couldn't hold the man down, right?
I mean, like, since the mid '90s, when Harlem Heat won their first tag team championship. Yeah. I mean, those guys were. Everybody knew Harlem Heat. Everybody knew Booker T, even if you were a WWE guy back in the day.
Yeah, no, they were a big deal. And when the merger happened and Vince bought like Booker being part of that and coming out was like he was the star that showed up, right? Because Hogan and Nash and Hall and all those guys took their contracts and they took their contracts and went home. But Booker T showed up week in and week out. He was on the house shows. He won world titles. He was in the main event picture the whole time. And he was always had TV time, always had a spot. And to this day, he was in a Royal Rumble a few years ago, just, as a legend spot. Came out of it all right, I'm good. I'm not going to do that anymore. But looked great while he was doing it. He played all the hits, got his 30 seconds or what, how they do in the Rumble, get there. He gets to come in, did the big scissor kick, did the spin-a-rooney, looked great while doing it. And, ever since has sort of been a mainstay either on commentary, whether it's on the main roster or on NXT, where he's been, I think a lot of people give him shit on NXT. Sometimes I see that on the internet, but I think he's great on NXT. And then
he adds a certain level of excitement.
and experience. Like if
Yeah.
Booker says something, and a lot of the I think what adds to that is that he does his own wrestling school obviously feeds into that NXT system, and like so he's got a lot of people that come right out of his wrestling school into that NXT system. I think Stephanie Vaquer is one of them, if I'm not mistaken. So like he feeds a lot of like top talent into there from his wrestling school, and they continue to have success. So I think that Booker's got a lot of legs to stand on, both with his in-ring ability, his experience, and his training school of new and up and coming talent, because it's shown that not only could he do it himself, he can teach, and that's kind of a unique thing within pro wrestling. And I think that Booker's kind of a jack of all trades and sort of a master of all trades, which is super weird and super unique. I can't really think of anybody who's at that hit that level in every category like he has, especially with also being like a great commentator as well. Like, I mean, the guy can do it all. So for him to come out and say, and be disappointed and say like, look, man, would you just want me to be an angry black man on television? Like, that's not okay. You got played by this Vlad TV guy, and I wouldn't go on there, and you went on there, and I'm disappointed. And for him to come out and say that, I think is really, that says something, because I don't know that it means anything if anybody other than Booker T says something like that. I don't know.
And I mean, and obviously we can't put ourselves in a situation to look at it from the racial side of things, but
yeah,
the quote unquote common sense side of things, where, hey man, like you got played, like that piece, I think we can wrap our heads around.
Yeah.
And
I think he explained it really well. Like, I listened to it, like, me reading it obviously doesn't have the power that Booker T explaining it has. And the way Booker said it was more, I can't do it justice, obviously. But with Booker saying it, it's like, oh man, like that's a tough spot to be in, and that's a tough way to have to say it, because he doesn't want to say stuff like that, and that was sort of where I think that where I understood that is he's like I don't want to have to address it this way, but I need to address this.
So hopefully those guys get it figured out, because at the end of the day, they are both
one's a legend, one's hopefully a future legend.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about this often when it comes to say Bianca Belair, but those are folks that young black folk get to look to as a role model type human being. And I hope those guys can come together and get that figured out.
I would love to see Swerve on Booker's podcast, if I'm being honest. Like, that to me would be must listen to. So I hope that happens at some point.
Yeah, that would be swell. I'd be all over that.
Buried. That's what I hope happens. That's what I hope this turns into.
Yeah, but it won't.
Maybe eventually. Maybe in like 5 years.
We'll see. That would be
it won't be like next month. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think that this is gonna die as quick as Linda Hogan's Twitter rampage did, huh?
Holy shit. We're gonna talk about that next.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull that back up, because that was the only part of that struck me particularly was Bubba the Love Sponge and what he had to say, because he obviously was very close with Nick, Linda's son.
Yep.
Nick, Linda and Hulk's son. And what he had to say this week, because he said he had seen it all. Sorry. Sit down and shut up and take it, because it'll be all over. Steve said what he needed to do. Steve is Brooke's husband. Steve spouting off, and he defended his wife, who is Brooke, and his 2 children, because according to Bubba Love Sponge, he's a real man. Steve is. So Bubba saw it all, 15 family vacations with them, and he was the witness. Bubba was the guy that was there 5 days a week working out with Nick and with everybody else, and he saw it all. And that's why he was called an expert witness in the divorce. And when TMZ wanted you to see something, he was going to bring it to you. And what he said was, did you single-handedly witness any abuse at all? And he saw Linda call Brooke fat. He saw her call her the C word, slap her across the face, and probably 4 or 5 times kick her in the legs just to belittle her, pull her hair, and that for no good reason, basically, is what he said. And Brooke didn't spill her glass of Coca-Cola or anything, what is what he had said. And basically, what he's saying is that he saw Linda just be a bad mom, essentially. Like Brooke would have been a teenager at this point in time, calling her fat, like just belittling your children.
Well, she's trying to break into the music business, and she's on television for everybody to see.
Right, because Hogan Knows Best was sort of like a very big reality show at this time, and this is during that time, right? That he's there, and just him saying like, no, like Linda's terrible, like Linda's a terrible person, and regardless of what you feel about Hulk Hogan, Linda is terrible and was terrible to her children, and her children don't speak to her, which she did cry about in her little Twitter rant, whatever, a week and a half ago. And it's like rightfully so. Like you don't like who does that? Like that's awful. And I don't think any of these are new stories. I think these are all sort of things that sort of came out, whatever, 5-10 years ago, when after all this, after kind of everything fell apart for them, or however long ago it was. But it's kind of like one of those re-upsetting things to hear about, I think, because as far as us wrestling fans and the world is concerned, Brooke Hogan did nothing wrong, right? Like she just like her family fell apart, which is terrible, and she just retreated. Like she was old enough, obviously, at the point when that happened, that she was already married and like was having children and what have you. But like her parents haven't met their grandchildren, and it's like they were such terrible people that like she decided, like, you know what, I need to go away from them and be out of the spotlight and just get away from these terrible people. And that's really hard to do, especially in the public sphere, which is where it happened, in like the public space. And it's like, so she just cut out her super famous parents from her life entirely, just because they were awful to her. And she's like, you know what, you don't even get to see your grandchildren. And this is just sort of that like reinforcement after, Linda gets on and cries about, how Hulk Hogan destroyed their family. But it's like, well, a lot of that was you too. So maybe shut up, go back to doing what you were doing, because fuck you, kind of a thing. And, the more this stuff kind of comes out, the more it's like, man, we're better off just not hearing from Linda Hogan ever again. And nobody's going to be sad. Nobody's going to be sad for her, regardless of how sad she is. She made her bed. It's time for her to sleep in it. Now she's just digging her grave, and it's time for her to jump in it.
Alrighty then, moving on from Linda Hogan. Goodness, Tom,
sorry, he talked real fast, and I was just trying to go through the subtitles of it.
You're good, but now that I got you a little, turn the heat up on the stove a little bit, there's a report surfacing claiming that AEW Dynamite is averaging 500,000 additional viewers on Max, pushing total viewership to 1 to 1.2 million per episode. Before the Max edition, Dynamite was averaging around 700K on cable. That's a 40 to 70% jump. Do you buy that?
No. And the only reason I don't buy that is because if that was true, Tony would not shut up about it. And Tony hasn't said a word about that. So that's the only reason I don't buy it. I watch it on Max now because I think that that's the most convenient way for me to watch it. And if they're counting total views from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, like, people just randomly watching, like, it's Friday afternoon, I've just got home from work, I'm going to throw this on. because it's new and I haven't seen it yet, but it was on Wednesday, right? And if that's the case, I hope so, and I hope so, because that's how I watch it. That's how I consume it. So if they're getting 500,000 more views because they've made it more convenient to watch AEW Dynamite on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday morning or a Sunday evening when, because HBO has dropped the ball on everything else that they used to have on Sunday nights, if that's been the case, then yeah, I mean, great. But also Tony hasn't said that. And I feel like if that was true, Tony would be standing out front, maybe not on television, but he would be showing up at Dynamite events saying, Dynamite had 1.2 million viewers last week. Thank you all for being here and blah, blah, blah. And I think that Tony would be explaining that to the crowds because I'm sure he's still there. I'm sure, we've been to AEW shows.
Yeah, for sure.
Tony comes out, whether or not it's part of the TV segment or it's just to come out and address the crowd. Those are things he talks about, is like ratings and attendance and things like that. So he's like real excited to tell you these things. And those are great numbers, and those are numbers to be excited about. And Tony would be very excited about those numbers. So it really is hard for me to believe that those numbers exist while we haven't seen Tony come out and talk about it. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, it makes perfect sense. As much as we like to, giggle and laugh and have fun at John Moxley's expense, saying, that dude would do a blade job on a backdrop.
Well, he did. That literally happened.
I think that the same could be said for Tony Khan when it comes to any minor milestone that AEW may or may not celebrate. He comes out, into the live house, he announces it to the house, and then it makes its rounds on the internet. And maybe we've just become tone deaf to that, and we just scroll right on by those things now because he wants to celebrate such minor milestones that maybe we missed this.
I looked because you and I talked about this because this broke sort of shortly after we were done talking last week. And so I looked around. I couldn't find any evidence of Tony saying anything about this. It just kept going back to that same story that like, oh yeah, it's hitting this allegedly through Max. But like, I couldn't find anywhere where Tony was excited to tell people about it. So I don't know that that's the litmus test exactly. And maybe he's just keeping it under the, maybe he's keeping it under the vest and he's not, coming out and bragging about it. But
but that also doesn't seem very, very Tony Khan like,
right? That just doesn't seem that doesn't seem to fit.
I mean, maybe he went through like a 21-day cleanse at a fancy Malibu, recovery center, and he's not been, hitting the booger sugar so hard, and maybe
he I feel like that would still be a thing that he would want to say, like we've increased our ratings, or at least to say something like, our ratings have increased 60% since we've been putting the show on Max Live every week. Like we've been getting 60% more viewers. I feel like even any way that he could spin it, because statistics you can spin in a lot of ways to make things look better than they are. And if your ratings are up 40 to 60% year over year, just because you added a view, a streaming service as well, in addition to your just, cable programming, like that's a big win. And that's something that you tell the world, like, hey, we're up 60% year over year because we've made wrestling more accessible.
I'm gonna go out and talk to the house.
Yeah, whether you're hitting the booger sugar or not, and maybe he'll say it tonight on the post show press conference. That'll be at like 2 a.m.
I mean, I'll probably still watch that.
I'm just saying, like, but if he doesn't say it, so I think maybe that's the litmus test, right? If he says it tonight,
well, he's gonna say it tonight because it's circulating the dirt sheets, so he's gotta play into it now.
Well, if it's true, I mean, he can only say it if it's true.
No, he can't. He's lied several times before.
That's fair. So
I mean, he lies every time he steps in front of the microphone trying to tell us that AEW is where the best wrestle.
Yeah, but that's very like
AEW where the best wrestle. It's more like AEW where the dumb people do dumb shit.
That's very subjective. That's like that's like one of those things where it's like, well, I think it's the best, therefore it is. That it's like objectively, like your numbers have to be right. Like people, you can be like, hey, we're up 60%.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to answer to anybody. He runs a private company. He can fucking inflate anything he wants.
We'll see. I'm interested. I'm actually more interested in what he has to say in the post show press conference than
John Moxley has just been the greatest top guy in the history of top guys. He really just been able to step up for us every single time we've
better than Hulk Hogan, better than Bret Hart, better than Bret Hart in the ring, better than Stone Cold Steve Austin ever was.
And you know what? And most assuredly, just a hell of a guy. So much nicer than that guy Phil.
Fucking Phil.
Phil. I'd never feared for my life as much as I did when Phil was around.
Yeah,
that's a wrestling show. That's supposed to be a great time.
I was terrified. I'm still a little scared.
That's sober TK, by the way.
Yeah.
That segment was the opening segment between Paul Heyman and CM Punk was a little weird.
Yeah, that was weird. But when it came out at the end, that whole like, oh, he's gonna be in my corner, and then Roman was like, wise man, tell this man off, or whatever, and that whole back and forth, I was like, and then so the one that came out of that, and my reaction to that is, oh, Seth Rollins is gonna win this,
right?
Like, oh, right. This is gonna be Seth's, like, this is where Seth is the mastermind. He's the architect behind this.
And they have been very much portraying Seth as the architect.
Yeah.
The way that and he's like, oh, well, I tried to tell you.
When that happened, Seth goes, I told you. And he's laughing his ass off in the corner. And then, like, that whole little exchange goes with, like, Punk and with Paul Heyman, and Punk gives Roman the GTS, and Rollins just laughs about it, and he looks at Punk, and he stares at him, and he smiles, and he rolls out of the ring. And I went, Seth's gonna win this. This is gonna be Seth architect. Some shit's gonna go down, and Seth's gonna be the ultimate benefactor of all.
Yeah, I believe that. And you know what? Good for Seth too, because like he definitely deserves to be in that match. He definitely deserves to be.
He's gonna make it a better match. Period. Like that match is gonna be way more exciting because he's in it.
Yes, 100%. And so that's good. I think a lot of that is gonna be fun. But there's this thing all over the internet right now that Cody prophesized this, saying that, eventually you're going to lose those titles, and then Jay's going to leave you, and then Jimmy's going to leave you, and even Solo, even though he's not ready, he's going to leave you. And then all you're going to be left with is a wise man, until the wise man decides to become an advocate. And then you're just going to be left alone.
Yeah.
And that makes that promo mean so much more now.
And I think Roman Reigns alone is very, very scary and very, very dangerous. And I think
dangerously.
And I think that is going to be broken. Roman is going to be fucking terrifying. I think he's just going to show up, kill people, make them bleed, like spit in it and rub the wound and walk out. Like, and I think it's just going to be like, he's just going to have like a hit list. It's going to be gross, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be like, holy shit, Roman's coming to kill everybody. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, sign me up for that.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Sign me up for that.
That'll be greght. Roman has to work 30 seconds twice a month.
Sign me up for that.
Awesome.
And I thought his promo last week in the contract signing was great too. And I know we talked about it, but just this whole thing. Hey, sidebar, ADHD sidebar. So I was given this pen the other day at work because mine broke, and I was bitching because it's a twisty pen,
Mhm.
right? I like clicky pens,
Right.
but this one's got the little stylus thing on it.
I
Well, it
like that.
kept like looking like it was coming undone, right? I was like, fuck, I broke this one too. No, it's just got a highlighter.
That's crazy.
Isn't that cool?
I like that a lot.
It's
Can I
a
have one? I
it's a
need
high
one.
market insurance pen.
Oh, okay. Well, so somebody. Oh, it's a promo product. All right. I'm gonna get my promo lady on it.
Yeah.
My promo girl's super hot.
I just wish that it was
Crazy hot. Like, oh my god.
I wish that it was a clicky. But now I understand why it's not. But it's awesome, and I never want to lose this thing because I use both of these in my real life. And sometimes this actually really comes in handy.
So what you're saying is I need to get my super hot promo girl on that, and we need one fall WrestleCast pens.
Because sometimes, man, you just need you know what I mean.
Hey, super hot promo girl, you hearing about this pen? All right, we got to get some pictures for the super hot promo girl, and she can work with us.
I mean, I'm into it.
Yeah.
These are great.
How many we need to get? 200? Sold.
Yeah, I'm into that. All right, sweet. Well, yeah. But I mean, I'll keep fucking at least 15 or 20 of them for myself.
Absolutely. I want 15 or 20 as well, and then we can give the rest of them away, or 10
Yeah.
years from now we'll still be fucking using 200 pens.
Yeah, I'm into it. Fuck yeah. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to derail on this pen, but I'm glad that
now we've got
a moment.
Now we've got a project.
So, yeah, but I think the whole Paul Heyman thing definitely adds a special layer to this story that I don't necessarily think I was ready for.
So I thought it was a little weird, but then when I saw Seth's reaction, the weirdness stopped, and I'm like, oh, this is Seth fucking everybody up. So I'm interested to see where this goes. If it doesn't go to Seth fucking everybody up, and like Seth is still kind of an afterthought at the end of this, as opposed to being the architect of the broken Roman Reigns, then it was all for naught. But I do think that there is an angle, and like I said, I think it's like leaving Seth as like the mastermind, that really kind of brings this full circle and is really puts everybody in a better place, because it like obviously ends the thing between Punk and Seth, like that's over. But then,
yeah, I mean, it needs to be for sure, because if not, we're gonna end up with fucking reheated Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu.
See, I like that match, but yeah,
I figured you would. That's why I couldn't wait to shit all over it.
I liked it 3 times.
I mean, I liked it the first time.
I mean, I think it happened 4.
I enjoyed it the second time.
I think it happened 4 times, if I'm being honest.
It
if I'm
was
being fair.
Fine this time.
This actually might have been the 5th time, but anyway.
Again, it's you have 2 guys that you wanna make relevant, but you don't know what to do with them.
Well, I mean,
didn't you think it was a little strange that whenever they did the walk-in shot, that all of a sudden miraculously Solo Sikoa was the fucking middleman?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I mean, they don't know what they're doing with these guys right now. You know what? Maybe there is some credence.
Well, so
maybe there is some validity to the internet being mad at Triple H for fucking not having a handle on creative.
Well, no, see, I don't think that's fair.
I think it's exactly fair.
Well, because what this match?
Hey, bud, where's LA Knight?
LA Knight is now in Jacob Fatu's crosshairs, because
okay. I mean, that's been how many weeks now?
Right, but he's now actually the number.
Okay, but LA Knight's United States champion. He could have already he could have had that feud with Roman. Like, that was good work. He could have ran with that.
Well, maybe we're gonna get good work now. Maybe now this is good work.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like we've made some mistakes along the way here.
Oh, there's definitely been
And
mistakes.
it's put us in the spot where we are now, where
Oh yeah,
where maybe we're starting to question some things.
yeah. Balls
Like
have been dropped. Let's
5
not
weeks
be.
ago, Jacob Fatu was the fucking biggest deal in WWE, and now he looks like Solo Sikoa's fucking lackey again.
I mean, well, let me watch this
When was
week.
the last time Jacob Fatu cut a fucking fiery promo?
It's been
5
3
weeks
weeks.
ago.
3 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, but you're right. It's been a couple weeks.
I mean, we were getting one of those every week.
Fatu.
We were getting one of those walking fucking fiery ass, promos every single week on the way to the ring to fuck a bunch of people up. And now, where's he at?
Hopefully those restart this week.
He's
Maybe
in the
they were
back
just
of the
trying-
refrigerator fucking getting pulled out as leftover tacos 3 or 4 days later for the kids because he fucking forgot to cook lunch.
I like leftover tacos.
I do too. And as a matter of fact, that actually happened today. But Lily and Carson couldn't have been happier with the choice of tacos.
Nobody could be happy. Like fucking. Hey, here's tacos.
I didn't forget to cook.
Has anybody ever handed you tacos and you've been like, "Oh, I'm so disappointed"? No, that's never happened. That's never happened in the history of anybody. Here's some tacos. These are delicious. You're right.
My kid all day on his days off away from school, all he does is just graze. It's like, oh, let me get a couple. I'll have a bowl of cereal, and then maybe in a little bit of a glass of milk, and then hey, I'm gonna have a cookie. And he doesn't eat a whole cookie; he eats a half cookie. And then I'm like, hey, bud, you got a half cookie? He's like, yeah, I know, bro. And then he'll go.
I feel like we were mistaught in eating, and that like grazing was like a thing that we did as kids, and it was like, you're gonna ruin your dinner because I'm gonna pile a bunch of shit in front of you and you better eat all of it. And it was like, well, maybe I should eat like 4 bites an hour, and like that's a better way to do it.
And I think it's just because you've always got some sort of fuel going, man.
Yeah. You're just burning shit. You're like, I'm burning some fuel. I'm gonna get a little more, and I'm gonna go burn it off. And
I'm like, hey, bub, you want me to make some chicken nuggets? He's like, nah, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
He goes, how about a Pop-Tart? Can I have a Pop-Tart? I was like, I prefer that you had chicken nuggets over a Pop-Tart, bro.
Yeah. And I feel like that becomes what the problem is that it's like, well, I don't want 500 calories of chicken nuggets. I want like, what's one Pop-Tart, 100 or 200 calories. So
Yeah.
it's like a I don't want like that much food. I want like less food, but like that less food is like, no, it's fucking gross. It's like no nutrition.
So then I've got this half cookie and this half a package of Pop-Tarts on the fucking kitchen table. And
yes.
And I'm like, bud, are you gonna, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then like half hour later, he's like, hey man, you want me a fucking bowl of cereal? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want to make you a bowl of cereal. Do you want some chicken nuggets if you're hungry? He was like, nah, I'll eat Pop-Tart. And then he goes over and he pulls a corner off of it, pops it, and then he's gone for another 45 minutes. And then mom gets home and he's like, I didn't eat lunch or dinner.
What'd you eat today? I ate a bunch of nonsense. And it's like, well, so maybe what you need to do is hand him like one chicken nugget. Like, eat this, like just have him ready and just be like, eat this instead. And he'll be like, all right, boink, and run away.
He set me up, bro.
He did.
He set me up.
He set you up. He was gonna slowly eat cookies for like 8 hours today. And that's what happened.
But that's the thing. He only had one cookie all day.
Oh shit.
It was just little, like he was taking little portions of everything all day.
Of like cookies though.
Yeah, like just the one cookie.
Right, but like and Pop-Tart, which is also kind of like a cookie and like
Yeah. He set me up, bro.
Yeah, he set you up. You were set up.
Cause like I just didn't want to argue with him.
But then I hate that too.
Since his mom walked in the door, he was like, "I didn't eat lunch or dinner, bro. Like, what are you gonna do
Threw you
about
right
that?"
under that fucking
And I'm
bus.
like, "Hey, Bob, like we just had a really fun day.
Like
Like,
you
I
and
can't believe you just did this to me.
just threw me under the bus. Like
You
now
turncoat
I'm in
son of
trouble.
a bitch.
Like
Like, what are we doing here, man?"
so
You know,
eventually,
then he gives mom a hug, and he's like, "Yeah, I want some chicken nuggets." Then he looks at me and fucking smiles. You little bastard.
he will learn that snitches get stitches. That's the one thing that I've taught my children is that like so my daughter will come in and tell on her friends like this girl doesn't listen in class, and I'm like, Evie, is she your friend? Because you just told me she was. First of all, there's nothing I'm going to do about any of that. But second of all, snitches get stitches. You let
Yeah,
your friend do whatever the fuck they want.
I mean, it sounds to me like Evie's just trying to gossip with you a little bit.
Yeah, but I can't. So okay, you're right. If I was trying to have my daughter be my best friend, I should gossip with her. However, I'm trying to be her father.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a fine line, Bob.
You're right. And to be fair, if this kid was on a team I was coaching, that's shit I'd want to hear.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm not.
That's fair.
But I'm not at this moment. Therefore, Evie, snitches get stitches. But if these kids are on my team and I'm like, Evie, is this a listening kid? And she's like, absolutely not, Dad. At that point, I'm like, okay, that's good information to have. So, like, I feel like I need to ask for the gossip, and I feel like that's what I really need to install in my children is like, don't offer this up to like a authority figure because I'm an authority figure. I'm literally the authority figure in their lives. Don't offer this up to an authority figure without at least some prompting and some like bribery, right?
Bribery.
Also,
It's a
like
federal offense, brother.
also the only authority figure that you
Hey,
should
listen,
offer.
do not bribe police officers, okay? It
No,
doesn't
but
end.
the only authority figure that you should bribe, that my daughter anyway should bribe, is me personally.
With
Like,
fucking cookies and Pop Tarts. Like,
absolutely, with cookies
yeah,
and pop.
that's
Like you,
where we're at. Do you understand, like,
I
the
am the
fucking
only
conundrum here?
I,
Like,
I am the only authority figure who
but
should be given information because
the kids control the cookies and Pop Tarts, bro.
they do. But like they should understand that like I am
Like, you
one that
bought the cookies and Pop Tarts, but they
I bought the
control
cookies.
the cookies and Pop Tarts. All right,
Right.
like, listen, don't act like fucking kids don't fucking run shit, okay? Because it comes down to cookies and fucking Pop
Buddy,
Tarts.
the cookies
My
and
man sold me out today, and I don't fucking much appreciate it. Okay, God damn it, I'm trying to rationalize something over here.
So that's the one thing in being divorced is that like nobody can sell. There's nobody to sell me out to anymore. It's if it's not my day, it's not my problem.
Cookies and fucking Pop Tarts.
And the Pop Tarts sit on the countertop all day, every day. Like I buy them, I don't put the only place they go is on top of the fridge, which coincidentally is I'm the only person tall enough in this house to reach up on top of the fridge. So if it's on top of the fridge, they need to come to me because I'm the only one tall enough to get there.
You act like there aren't chairs in your kitchen. I mean, and the kids aren't fucking Listen, listen.
We're way off.
At the end of the day, okay, we tell you all of this stuff because Paul Heyman looked like the poor depressed dad that got sold out for some cookies and some fucking Pop Tarts.
He sure did.
Okay.
He sure did. Paul Heyman had a terrible. I love Paul's reaction too to this. Like the whole thing, the premise of it, if you really thought about it, was silly.
Yeah,
but like
it was perfect for Paul Heyman.
CM Punk giving Roman Reigns the GTS while Seth Rollins laughed his ass off about it, and Paul going, "No, it was great. That was great."
Yeah,
it popped me. I laughed.
Yeah,
I laughed my ass off.
Listen, it might have been a little campy, but like I think this was the only way that you were gonna make this happen, right? Because this is one of those moments that if we want to peel the curtain back a little bit, it's kind of bigger than wrestling, right? Like, but you had to figure out how to explain it because the storyline,
it's hodgepodge.
Yeah,
taped
yeah.
together
So,
with
which
like
again calls
bubble gum and
Paul
like,
Levesque's creative into question. You know what?
but
Maybe I'm starting to get on the. Maybe I'm starting to get onto the side of the
you know
wrestling
what though?
internet that it sucks.
It's gonna make really, really good like little like B-roll like rolls of like here's all of this feud in a 30-second like montage, right? Like it's gonna make that a really good 30-second montage. And you're gonna know going into this match exactly why everybody wants to punch everybody else in the mouth. And at the end of the day, isn't that pro wrestling?
And that's how you
Why
sell
does this guy
WrestleMania.
want to punch this guy in the mouth? Well, let me tell you.
Well, Dave Meltzer tried to say, "Hey, they don't have anything." Well, WWE said, "Well, we'll give you something."
Well, that doesn't make sense. That fuck you.
Yeah, it does now,
That's
bitch.
exactly what they just said.
So,
Fuck you.
let's go into this not so highs of highs
Oh boy.
on Friday Night SmackDown.
Oh boy.
I'd really like to start with the debut of Ray Fenix versus NXT's Nathan Frazier, which when I saw them setting this up, I said, "Oh, this could actually be really fucking good."
It was a squash match. They squashed him.
It was a botch match, is what it was.
It really was. They both did actually, and they squashed Frazier in the process. Like it was. This went 5, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, maybe.
I'll give it 8 tops.
It was not. They did not put it. It was bad enough that it was not put in recaps. If you were to watch the whatever 30, 25-ish minute.
So are you trying to say that we're the only outlet that's covering the Ray Fenix debut?
No, but like we're the only ones talking about why. Like, okay, WWE doesn't really want to talk about it in things other than like 12-second clips that they threw on Twitter.
I heard.
Like after all of this going down, like I saw it was like, oh well, who had the better debut? Was it Penta or Ray Fenix? And obviously it was Penta, because WWE is
but
like,
Penta botched in his debut as well.
But Penta had
and then
one
cut a very awkward promo afterwards.
And they never gave him that much time on the mic again.
I mean, Penta can still. I mean, Penta, his English is so much better than it used to be, and Ray Fenix not quite there yet.
But to be fair, they did not give Ray as much time, and Ray kind of got. It didn't make a whole lot of sense either. Like what Ray said, he was like, but where he got at the end was like Ray Fenix is WWE or whatever. But it like going into that, it was like, oh, this was not planned. And he was also like huffing and puffing while giving the promo, which isn't the worst thing. But this seems to be kind of one of those Triple H things that like I am not a fan of. Like let's maybe not make this guy run around and jump off of high things and do stuff for 10 minutes and then be like, thank you, because that's what this was. And I don't know, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's one of those like, well, let's hopefully get better from here, because this wasn't it.
No, not at all. Actually pretty disappointed with Ray Fenix's debut in WWE as a whole. Was really looking forward to that, especially because of the success that Penta had, to start off right away. I don't know that if he debuted anywhere outside of Chicago that he would have gotten the reaction that he got. And he lost the crowd in the process. So I understand the reasoning behind having him debut in Chicago so that they would get the reaction that they got. But the showing did not lend itself to be the great moment that I believed that they had hoped it would be.
Well, and it was so telling on their end too, because like WWE is fantastic for like putting together. Oh, if you miss the show, because they don't have a great streaming deal set up with anybody. Sometimes you can watch SmackDown the very, very next day, at whatever 9 or 10 a.m. On the USA app, but sometimes you just can't. And I don't think that this was the reason you couldn't, but this show is going to be heavily edited down because of the live aspect of it, and enough segments not going accordingly. This one not being the most egregious, but like there were a
I
few
was pretty fucking egregious, bub.
it's the second most egregious segment. So I think that's the reason why it just wasn't immediately available, is that they really needed to cut down a lot of this shit to kind of like take out some of the stuff that made everybody look a little bit silly, especially on Watchback. So you don't always want to have that as easy access. Like, it's going to get out there because DVR exists and what have you, but you don't want it as easy access on your platform.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing, right? And like
it was. So Ray's like we were over the moon about Penta's debut, minus his like leg drop where he was like, "Shit, these don't bounce." Like that, and that's what it was. Is that he meant to bounce off of cables to do a backflip and a thing, but like they were ropes and they just went and he fell on his head.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Well, I'm not going to do that again." And like that, but that was like a one.
Yeah,
that I mean, we're talking about 2 seconds.
I think my biggest fear for Ray Fenix is, are we going to find a compatible performer for him to be Ray Fenix?
Or is he just going to fall into obscurity and wrestle Akira Tozawa in non-taped pre-show matches?
Because that's the difference between him and Pentagon, right? Is Pentagon has a more substantial stature than his brother Ray does.
Yeah.
And
Ray is flashier, right?
Yes.
He does the tightrope walk stuff. He does stuff that looks like, oh my god, did he break his neck? And he didn't, but like he almost broke his neck, and maybe he broke his leg, which became a problem for him, in AEW. So,
yes.
I mean, it's because it's like, God, he's like a stick of TNT, right? It's just like somebody's twirling it around their fingers like it's a pen. And that's Ray Fenix, right? So it's like, does he blow his whole arm off? Does he do a like weird toss thing and it goes boom and it looks amazing? Who knows?
Well, I'm still very hopeful that Ray Fenix can get it together next week. Obviously,
strike one. It's just
they're gonna give us a couple good looks at him before they decide what to do as far as his direction creatively. Yeah. So we'll be looking forward to what he puts in front of us over the next couple of weeks.
But strike one, right?
Yeah. Moving on to another down portion of this show that really puts a damper on some things. Kevin Owens dealing with a significant neck injury and expected to miss a significant amount of time.
I feel like this is when you texted me, what the fuck is this show? This happened shortly after Ray.
Yeah. Kevin Owens has done so fucking much for us as fans in the last 5 years. This is a massive blow to the WWE product. Not just WrestleMania, the product.
More the week-to-week show than WrestleMania, if I'm being honest.
This is a significant loss for the brand of WWE.
Because Kevin Owens is a must-see TV sort of.
He is absolutely must-see TV, especially if you're a smarky smark like we are smarky smarks. You appreciate what fucking Kevin Owens does.
KO don't miss, and I think that's the biggest thing that I'm taking out of this, is that Kevin Owens is like week in, week out. Like he, even as like like when I would tell you, like, I think Michael Cole went a little hard on KO here because like KO made some pretty solid points. Um, Kevin Owens is one of those guys who we're glad decided to be a wrestler and not a politician, because quite frankly, he could be the ruler of the world if he really wanted to be a politician. But instead, he decided that jumping off of things and like falling on his head was more fun for him than being the ruler of the world. And kudos to him because I think he's so much better at all of that. But Kevin Owens is must see television. And if he's going to be out for a long time, WWE TV is going to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're talking 20 plus minutes a show per week suffer. Because like there's nobody to
it
fill that
really
spot.
doesn't matter what KO is involved in, whether it's a something that's really a nothing or a nothing that's really a something.
Or something that's really something.
His work as a character in the WWE landscape
And his ability to
is undeniable.
his ability to entertain for periods of time. It's like he's just like he is a staple of WWE television, and he's a high point in any show he's on.
Like
Very
Kevin
rarely
Owens,
do we come in and criticize Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
If he's not, we should throw things at Titan Tower if they buy it back or something.
There's nothing
TKO headquarters.
There's nothing about KO's run, and a lot of us have looked into the things that him and Sami Zayn did. As El Generico and Kevin Steen. Back in the day, WWE's done a really good job of putting a lot of that in front of us through the years as well. You respect what the man has done to get to where he is.
Mm-hmm.
You respect the work that he's put in to make sure that he's at his best for us, the fan, the consumer, because he loves this shit. And you can
he's a fan. He's a bigger fan than we are.
You can see that. You can feel that. And as a fan, you fucking appreciate that.
Yeah.
And this is not great news at all. I'll liken this back to Adam Copeland announcing his retirement and what that felt like for me as a fan. At the time was a massive blow to a product that I was like.
Well, he was a champion too. He was the heavyweight champ.
And like I was uninvested in it, other than some things like Edge and John Cena. The rest of it was bullshit. Like there was nothing there, right? We had Randy Orton and we had Kurt Angle before he left, but a lot of that was crash TV bullshit during the formative years of the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah.
But this is not great.
No, this is bad for WWE television, and I don't know how they fill this slot because, I mean, they quickly pull Sami Zayn back and like have him try to fill it because they're not the same kind of guy. Sammy's the true underdog, but Kevin's like the true like terrible person, and it's like, well, here's my reason.
I don't think that you can look at his character in its iteration now, which is, I think, just continues to grow and change and evolve. But it's still the same character, is that he just stands on his fucking on his own morals, and it doesn't matter
right. And it's like
what he has to do to uphold his morals, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, and it's like, well, how could you? And I'm going to write this wrong. And it's like, God, and as much as like, and I've been very critical of Michael Cole, really, in the like KO hate. And it's like, really, Michael Cole? Like, you can't see why it doesn't make sense to you. Why? Tell me why. He told you why. And it's like when JR would be like so mad at Triple H, like, tell me why, you son of a bitch. Tell me why. And like Michael Cole tries to do the same kind of thing to Kevin Owens. It's like, well, Kevin told you why. And it's more logical than anything else anybody said tonight. So like, why are we why are you so hard on this guy who's like already explained himself?
Yeah.
Like regardless of whether or not you agree with it, he's already explained himself. And not only has he explained himself, he's explained himself and gone 3 layers deep as to why. And like that's all him. Like he's the only one. Like he is so good and so deep into the character
Yeah.
that like he understands why to the fifth element.
And by all accounts, Kevin Owens is one of the sweetest human beings in the world. Like real life Kevin Owens.
Except he almost beat up a bald dude on his way out on Friday.
Well, yeah, but again, that's standing on your morals because that guy
Yeah.
said, Kevin, you're still the shits. And this moment has come under fire. Kevin Owens has come under fire a little bit in the eyes of the IWC because he confronted this fan, that heckled him in his
It's not like he poked him in the eye or anything.
in his moment of weakness. But the internet, some of the internet has said you can't have such thin skin, Kevin. You've got to be a little bit tougher. Can't let the hecklers get you.
I feel like
you were better than this.
You can't abandon the character though, right? Like you can't like break kayfabe at that point.
Yeah.
You have to be like, who said that? Go fuck yourself. Like, and that was really more or less the exchange, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what the exchange was.
And it's not like he like dragged him over the barricade, like
and
beat him bloody or anything.
Hey, listen, if you're hanging out with us right now, why don't you put in the comments how you feel Kevin Owens handled that very personal, very real life situation that unfolded right before our very eyes on fucking Friday Night SmackDown, huh? I don't know, man. This is a major, major blow for WrestleMania now. We're not going to get Randy Orton. Obviously, the impact that comes beyond this, we wish Kevin Owens a speedy recovery. I mean, God, we just gave him his flowers for fucking 15 minutes. Well deserved. And
hope to see him at SummerSlam at the very latest.
Really did the thing where now such a match that we were invested in, like great build, long-term storytelling, pile drivers through tables, a couple of vacations, a couple of other feuds in between. Kevin Owens really, despite having this neck injury since, what did he say, November, December, has really given us some bangers. A ladder match, a no hold
ladder match where he fell on his, where he told Cody to put him on it. Like just let's go.
Like, just do it. I mean, my God, dude. Get well soon, KO. The real fucking fans, we're
gonna miss you.
We're gonna miss the fuck.
Good Lord, are we gonna miss you? We're gonna like 3 weeks from now. We're gonna be like, do you miss Kevin Owens? Because I miss the shit out of Kevin. Like, we're gonna feel this in a way that's like, man, these shows are just missing some guy that makes me feel.
This is a bigger deal than Big E, though, right? Like, I hate to go there. This is a bigger deal than Big E, I think.
I mean, logistically, I hope not. I hope he's back quickly.
Yeah, but I'm talking like impact wise.
Oh yeah, if he's out indefinitely or for a year plus, this we feel this harder. Absolutely. Like this is a slot. This is must-see television that does not exist. I love Big E, but he did
Random
not.
Edits answers our question, says, I don't really know, dude.
I love that he's still here.
Yeah. It's fucking dope.
This man is fantastic.
Yeah. Maybe how you know it's a man. Maybe it's a...
This person is fantastic. And I love that he's got a kitty cat in his picture.
Meow.
I love kitties. I have 6.
Okay, listen. What you do in the privacy of your own home.
You popped Ashley, by the way.
Is none of my business. I've been waiting all night. I got a little premature the last couple of weeks, and I picked some not so great ones.
You popped Ashley tonight. Good for you.
Yes. That's my goal with that every single time, and it's been a while since I popped Ashley. So
You popped her, so all right.
yes,
I heard a snicker happen
yes,
immediately. So you win.
hell yeah. Where's my belt?
Mine are right there.
I don't know. I got
They're
it
up a
back
little
here.
bit.
There you go. Fuck. What the fuck was I talking about? Before you started
Kevin
talking
Owens.
about
Kevin
securities
Owens.
in your house, and I just
Kevin Owens, and we're gonna miss him.
Whew. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna miss him. But we talked about the long-term impact and what we think that that's gonna be for the product. Let's talk about the short-term impact. Let's talk about fucking WrestleMania and the giant hole that Kevin Owens is gonna leave.
Are we about to get Randy Orton versus Nick Aldis?
Well, let me just tell you what I think. Can I tell you what I
I
think?
would love to hear. I've not heard
So
anybody thought on this. I would love to hear what you
let's
think.
talk about Nick Aldis. Okay, first
Yes,
of all,
please.
don't forget this is now the second time that Randy Orton has RKO'd Nick Aldis.
Yes.
The first time when he introduced him as the newest SmackDown talent, he RKO'd him.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Aldis fined Randy Orton $50,000 for said RKO. Randy Orton gave Nick Aldis a check for $100,000, and Nick Aldis said, "Randy, the fine was only $50,000." And Randy patted him on the back and said, "That extra 50's for next time."
It's coming.
So, just a little circle back on the long term there on the Nick Aldis thing. I'd be into that if I'm being honest with you.
Man, would that be cool? That would be that would be one of those, like, they always say that like WrestleMania is sort of for the marks, but like SummerSlam's for the fans. That would be one of those real
National
good,
treasure.
that would be one of those real great, like, just, hey.
To this day, one of the best wrestling matches I have ever watched with my own two ocular orbs was Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis for the NWA Championship.
It was great, and they did it twice.
The first one, so much better.
I mean, they're both pretty good, but yeah, you're right. The first one's better. I mean, at this point, God, that was 7 years ago.
Yeah. I've also lost all hope in us getting a WWE Nick Aldis run or match.
I mean, I think if he gets a match with anybody, he gets it with Randy Orton. I think that's fantastic. Maybe he gets one. He gets one WrestleMania match, and I think maybe we haven't thought of it in that sense. Is that maybe Nick Aldis wants just one?
Maybe. But you know what?
Michael Cole got one, for God's sake.
I think that you're missing the biggest detail of all of this that happened. Right before they cut to Nick Aldis, what happened?
Randy looked at him?
Nope. They were... Nope. We got a really strange vignette, didn't we? And you know what? I'm willing to bet that was coming out of commercial break, and you probably didn't catch it. But do you know how that vignette started?
No.
Oh
no. I forgot totally about that. Because all that happened, and like I was like, oh my God, are we getting Nick Aldis? But like, really? Do you think that has something to do with him?
Yes, sir, I do. I think that this is a full-on pivot. They've been put into, they were content to sit on him until after WrestleMania to give him a fresh start, a fresh storyline, some way, and maybe introduce him at WrestleMania in some way. It's a run-in or something. And then he debuts on SmackDown the following week. I think that was probably the plan, to hold him until post WrestleMania. Kevin Owens comes in and says, "Hey guys, I've got to have fucking neck surgery." And they're like,
You're telling me they're
Alistair
gonna bring in
Black just signed a fucking contract with
the
us.
ghost of Dumbledore, Germany himself.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it is the most safe and obvious pivot. It puts Alistair Black in a really great spot to return as a big deal.
Because he can
As a
surprise
big
Randy
deal.
Orton and beat him
Yes.
out of surprise. Because Randy,
Yes.
Randy doesn't lose any stock one way or the other.
No, not at all. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I've really talked myself into really wanting that to be the thing that happens.
Man, that would be crazy.
I
mean, I think they have two options there now. I think it's either Nick or it's Alistair Black.
I think it's Alistair Black.
I mean, I would love that. I hope so. Now I didn't even think about that.
The old thing that a lot of these guys say in these interviews is, if you want to be a top guy, you have to come in on top. And quite honestly, there's not many names much bigger than Randy Orton.
No.
And beating Randy Orton at WrestleMania kind of really positions you as a big deal. And I definitely think that this is going to be another one of those cases that we've seen with Penta, where we get a AEW comeback that Triple H is going to position to be a big fucking deal.
And somebody who Triple H already likes a lot better than...
He was Triple H's NXT World Champion.
Right. And like, to big fanfare. To the same level that like Karrion Kross was as well, who may or may like his contract is apparently coming up, or they're in negotiations. Like it's like a summer, like June-ish thing. So like and yes, Alistair Black would be a similar, like he would be a Karrion Kross level guy, right? Like of like top guy to Triple H, right? He'd be a guy who was like, you know, we were criticizing, or we have criticized Triple H. Like, well, does he have, and the internet has too, well, does he have the ability to pick the next top star, right? And it's like, man, to him, Karrion Kross and or Alistair Black would be that guy. And, you know, he feels probably like Vince fumbled both those guys. And maybe Rusev too, to a degree, because allegedly.
I mean, word on the street is he's signed also. He was at WWE headquarters this week, and word on the street is he left with a deal. So I know you said you weren't excited about that.
I mean, I'm not either, but like
it sounds like it's coming. And what's to say that Triple H isn't fucking continue to just be petty, to just put Rusev in a situation where Rusev beats Gunther?
Maybe. And
I'm just saying, like, you know, we're talking about so many pot shots have been coming back across the lines from WWE that, you know, never existed before. And, you know, AEW had kind of let that go, and, you know, this, that, and the third. And it's tacky. Like, don't take pot shots. You want to mention them, mention them.
Yeah, but like,
man up about it. But don't fucking take pot shots. That shit's tacky. Don't punch down.
Will Ospreay took pot shots this week, though.
I know, and I'm trying to cue you up on that, but we'll circle back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I don't know, bub. What happened with Ospreay?
So, to circle back with about Will Ospreay taking pot shots, is that he had said this week that, you know, he and Kyle Fletcher had put on a cage match that was tried to be overshadowed the day later, but they were not able to do it. And that was the long and short of it. And nobody asked him about it because, like, to be fair, both of these like cage matches were booked sort of like differently, but like they had been coming for a while. So neither of them were like sort of, it seemed to me more of a coincidence than anything else. Additionally, I mean,
One of
both,
them was on free TV.
yeah, one of them was on free TV and one of them wasn't. And both were great. Like, let me get that out in front, right? Like,
God, did a fucking Spanish fly off the top of the fucking cage, bud.
I'm not trying to say that Osprey versus Fletcher wasn't great, and Punk versus Rollins wasn't great. They were different matches, and honestly, until he brought it up, I didn't even put two and two together to say, "Oh, hey, somebody tried to outdo my cage match the next." I'm like, "Oh, I guess that happened." I didn't watch them back to back like that, but like, I guess that was the case consequentially, but like also they were wildly different matches,
Well,
and
they
it
were
was almost a
wildly
matter of,
different matches because they both had wildly different storytelling mechanisms.
yeah, and they were both like it seemed more coincidental to me that it was the same type of match. Like, had it just been a normal one-on-one in the ring, and it was like, well, coincidentally, Seth Rollins had a
AEW were the
one-on-one
best wrestle.
standard match. Also, the other thing that burns me about Will Ospreay bringing this up is actually two things. Number one, the last time that Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins interacted, Rollins ended up putting Ospreay over, like, hey man, I actually think you're fucking great. And like I watch your stuff. I think you're great. And I wish you all the success in the world. I hope to fight you in WWE
Oh,
sometime.
the boinking the boss's daughter, bruv.
Yeah. It was after all of that. It was after all of that. And Rollins still ended up putting him over and saying, hey, I think you're a great talent. Love to beat you in WWE. And it was, I think that's really where it went. It was there. He left the confident thing, but it was a very like, man, we could blow the roof off a place kind of a thing. You put him over. And Ospreay continues to take pot shots, but would also be the first one to cry about tribalism. He is like, anybody's like, well, we're AEW and they're WWE, blah, blah, blah. He's the first one, bruv. The first one to talk shit about it.
Hey, bruv.
First fucking one. And like, at this point, it's like, I almost feel like he's getting schizophrenic. And it's like, there's probably a lot of stress in AEW because, like, there's like, the booking is so hot and cold. And like, even for him, it's like, one day he's like fucking squashing a dude. And the next day he has to go 20 minutes with a guy who can't fucking breathe at all. And is fucking 60 pounds overweight. And
Hey,
it's like,
pal. Whatever happens inside of your own four walls is none of my business.
I did go to the ear, nose, and throat doctor this week so that I could breathe through my nose. Thank you, Walter. Anyway, but yeah, like Ospreay's the biggest crybaby. So for him to continue to just be like, oh, well, they're trying to
crybaby.
He's a
bold,
cry. Like, just fucking stop. Like that. So that's my stance for Will Ospreay. Just fucking stop.
Just
bro.
shut up and wrestle, huh?
Shut up and wrestle. Like, just fucking stop. Like, it's just like nobody. You're not doing yourself any favors.
Maybe this is just long-term storytelling, bruv.
I hope so. It's long-term storytelling to where like we get Rollins versus Ospreay at WrestleMania 50.
Hey, so friend of the show, Pat Martin, texted me an awful lot this week about professional wrestling and asked me a couple of questions. One of which was, do you think KO is an angle? No, I don't.
I hope, but probably not. I think you're right.
The second question that he asked, I really never gave much thought to, and shout out to friend of the show, Pat Martin. He said, hey man, and this was legitimately out of the blue. We were talking about basketball, and this wrestling question came through, and
in April, of all months,
he goes, do you think the Young Bucks will ever go to WWE?
Man, they've been off for a while now, huh? It's been 6 months.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
What's that even look like? I don't think so. There's no way that works.
I think if they do, they get beat by the Motor City Machine Guns day one.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, and I think that like they stand in the ring next to the Motor City Machine Guns, and we're like, wait, are the Motor City Machine Guns bigger than the Young Bucks? What's going on right now? I just no, I don't think it happens. I think that I don't think they do. I
Is
think
that objective, or are you just fucking a hater?
both. It's both.
I appreciate your honesty.
Both. But I don't think we see the Young Bucks in WWE. That feels like a 0% chance to me.
Me too. It'd be weird.
It feels like that ship has sailed.
It feels dirty too. Like
it feels like that ship has sailed. It's docked. It's docked somewhere else.
Jericho talking about possibly going back to WWE, and like if he feels like that could be a thing.
Who? Jericho.
I mean, he's coming up too.
Maybe he's a commentator.
I think they would bring him back as a personality, which
is
really all he is now as a character.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think they would love to put him on the pre-show once a month. I think that'd be great. They'd give him some.
He could be the new Jesse the Body.
Yeah, exactly. He'd get to talk on Saturday night's main event. He'd probably get something on Peacock. He'd be like, they'd be like, hey, do you want to just air your segments from your podcast on Peacock when you talk to wrestlers? And like it could be like the Stone Cold thing. It would just be what Jericho does, but a similar thing. And that shit just shows up on Peacock, and same with Undertaker and everybody else.
He was the vessel in which the bridge was crossed.
Yeah, and I think that would be his spot. Do I think that WWE would bring him back and let him do things on live television week in and week out and like have him wrestle? No, absolutely not. That ship sailed.
I think Tony Khan might let Sting do this Lex Luger thing. I'm seeing increased chatter. I'm seeing increased chatter that Tony Khan's a great guy. I
mean, I hope he does.
Although Sting does have like a goatee beard now.
Apparently his time in Pittsburgh in December is his last time in Warpaint. So
he had Warpaint on at a signing this past weekend.
Yeah, apparently this is the farewell tour of that.
Oh, really? So he's just gonna meet people as Steve Borden, aka Sting.
I mean, I guess after December of this year, that's the plan.
Oh, nice. Good for him.
That would be great, but
yeah, he looks good though. I like the beard thing he's got going on.
I do too. I think it looks great, really.
Yeah, I like the little salt and pepper too. I think.
Yeah, I'm being fair. As somebody who keeps the salt and pepper.
I mean, I wouldn't know. That's just not a problem that I have to embrace. I don't.
How does it feel to be God's favorite?
Well, I mean, came at a toll, bub. I've got high blood pressure, obesity, and
just gorgeous hair.
It's greasy as shit though.
Incredible. Yeah. Like today, but like you can wash it. Oh, yeah. Mine is too. Fuck. Like let's not pretend.
Let's not pretend like you don't have olive oil fucking coursing through those veins.
Yeah, sure do. We had spaghetti and meatballs tonight, actually.
Not surprised. It's Sunday. Sunday sauce, bub. You know what I'm saying?
we had spaghetti and meatballs tonight.
As somebody that grew up as the implant to an Italian house, I know all about Sunday sauce, bub. It
was actually really good. I put it together like sort of in a relatively quick fashion, but man, it turned out like by relatively quick, I mean, it still took me an hour, but like,
yeah. Gotta love it when that happens. Just fucking making beautiful music right off the rip. So Sunday sauce, not surprised at all. I don't know, man. Love the prospect that Aleister Black and Randy Orton could have a build in a program. I don't think we can do the whole Cody Rhodes thing with Aleister Black. I think we've got to get a little bit of a build to that. So let's get Aleister on TV on Friday and let's get it rolling. In my humble opinion. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. But I think the thing that has the wrestling world in a chokehold to cap off, well, not really cap off, but pretty much cap off, except for, the whole Reigns thing. What was a very, very piss poor hour and 15 minutes of SmackDown, maybe even hour and 37 minutes of SmackDown, was the in-ring promo battle between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair.
I have so many thoughts on this.
I do too, but one thing that I wanna touch on before we get into the nuts and bolts of this is, last week Mickie James had said something, and this is how I watch wrestling at a surface level sometimes. Mickie James had said something a couple of weeks ago
on LFG.
I don't remember what it was about. Women coming to the ring in lingerie and fucking
looking like thoughts, basically.
Yeah, basically. I really felt like Charlotte Flair, when she came out, that it was a direct shot at Mickie James with her outfit of choice, which, and I was just like, okay, I see what you're doing here. And then to my surprise, Tiffany Stratton came out
in the same gear,
in the same look. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, they're definitely pew pew. All right. And I thought maybe it was going to be one of those things where Tiffany Stratton's like, oh, you want to dress like me, whatever. But that's not what we got.
No, and it immediately flew off the rails.
And first and foremost, okay, God love the Chicago crowd, right? They are a volatile group. They,
especially in my opinion, after everybody was just like, "Oh, you think the European crowds are too much?" And then the Chicago crowd showed up and be like, they were like, "Hold my fucking bottle of tequila."
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, they were unhinged.
They were this was the perfect American crowd to come back to after a European tour, because European crowds are wild. They are always active. They are loud. They are
sometimes like into their own. They're smelling their own farts sometimes, the European crowds.
But you know what? It makes for great fucking TV.
Well, sometimes it makes for weird TV, but yeah, okay.
Makes so for Chicago was
different TV.
Chicago was the right place.
Yeah.
To come back to the States.
This crowd especially, good Lord.
And
they brought it.
They were very, very much on the you don't need to be in this spot.
They were
kind
of
mood.
They were working on Tiffy time.
They were definitely working on Tiffy time. And they let Charlotte fucking know. Now, you got to watch this segment on Saturday morning after a brief conversation between the two of us.
I did.
And you sent me a text and you said, could Charlotte always never talk, or is this new?
Yeah.
I don't think that I've ever seen a crowd impact Charlotte Flair the way Chicago impacted Charlotte Flair on Friday night.
Was that not the weirdest part?
Yeah. Yes, extremely weird. And Charlotte's always been a solid in-ring promo, and she's one of the ones that you look at in the women's division that has that in-ring promo power, as she put it to open her promo. But she looked really, really uncomfortable.
I can't believe they shook her as hard as they did. I feel like, if anything, if you're Charlotte, you can lean into that like super, because like, let's not pretend like Charlotte's so new that she doesn't understand how to like immediately like sense a crowd. Like, she's been in front of thousands of crowds.
Do you
Immediately,
think her ego needed the reassurance from Chicago that she was still the queen?
I don't,
You,
it so that feels it feels wrong to think or say that because like I feel like her ego should have immediately seen that and go, "Oh, I got him. They're
could
mad at
this be a
me."
question of confidence because of the recent divorce and
I
then the
mean,
backlash from the return?
if
I mean, she cried on a fucking interview that gets called into question a little bit later. Is this the same Charlotte Flair that we're used to?
I don't know. Is she did she come back too soon? Is she still shook from the injury, the divorce, and the just like is she legitimately like down in the dumps right now? And it's like I like Charlotte as I, I've said multiple times, her Instagramming of her recovery of the knee injury is nothing short of like saint like it's inspiring. She's inspiring. And her coming back like this and faltering this hard is like what are you looking for? Like you're getting you're the heel, you're supposed to get booed. You've been stepping all over Tiffy all week, or all month, really. Like for the last month or so, last 2 or 3 segments, you've been stepping all over her. And Tiffany, to her credit, has been giving you the space to build you back up because Tiffany's been on top for the last year while Charlotte's been hurt, year and a half.
Yes.
Like it's like
It's been
so
her and Nia Jax, and now Charlotte's back and Nia's gone.
yeah.
And with Nia goes fucking Candice LeRae.
Yeah. So like everything Tiffany's been working with, like is that carpet swept out from underneath of her, and she has to be here with you. So she has to give you the space to rebuild yourself a little bit because you've been gone for so long. And we know that they like we're not stupid, but like we know that they think that like nobody's seen her for a year and a half. We can't just plop her out there and expect everybody to remember what's happened 2 years ago and then the past 10 years before that. That's not fair to the live fan, right? And like
No,
that's how WWE sees things. So like for
that's
Tiffany
how
to like
AEW sees things too. But the difference is that most people that don't really know what happened 10 years ago.
yeah.
By 10
So
years ago, I mean 5 years ago.
but still, I mean that's fair too. Like it's a matter of like or we forgot, right? Like let's say we forgot. And like so to like for Tiffany to like take a step back as the champion just to let Charlotte talk, rebuild herself and do what she has and do what she needs to do. Um seemed logical to me as cold as this match has been in comparison. It's like okay, this makes sense. Like Charlotte hasn't been here. You need to let Charlotte take the forefront, but then eventually like you need to have Tiffany push back. And we need to all give a shit about this, right? And that's what's been going on. But this Chicago crowd shook Charlotte what it felt like to me so hard. And it just sort of became like she just like gave up
Yeah.
and it sort of like felt real gross. And I was like, I don't like this. And then she immediately sort of was like, Tiffany, I'll let you have the last word. And it was like, I've never heard anybody say that inside a wrestling ring. And then Tiffy cut her down for 30 seconds, took a step back so that Charlotte wouldn't punch her in the face.
Yeah, because that was a toe to the twat, so to speak.
And
I imagine that's the female equivalent of the low blow, right?
yeah, it
Toe to the
has to be,
twat.
right? Like to get in there and like strike it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I mean, there's got to be something, right? I mean, Rochambeau, fucking Bangkok, like these things have funny,
Shout out
funny
to
names in dude
shout out to
culture.
Ricky Starks.
Hey, speaking of fucking new North American fucking champion, huh?
Sure is, man. Strap a rocket on that man.
Yeah, Ethan Page was in TNA this week too. I saw.
He's on that tour because they need to make that make sense. That whole like partnership. So yeah, he's on that tour. He gave a little interview about that on some nonsense channel. I have to pee. Can you talk about how that's going on?
What's that?
Either Ethan Page or your thoughts on Charlotte Flair.
Okay, yeah, let's circle back to Charlotte Flair because, um, I don't know, man. I've never seen a crowd rock Charlotte Flair the way Chicago did, and she even tried to plead with him, I think, a little bit, like, come on, Chicago, really? And I think that she was a little bit surprised at the reaction from the Chicago crowd, a crowd that is historically, smart marky, if you will. And I think that she expected that crowd to have her back. And when they didn't, she didn't know what to do with it. And I've never, ever seen her in a position of where she was shook and couldn't perform, and which led to her just getting absolutely destroyed with some very personal comments, which I'm going to wait for Tom to come back to kind of dig into. But it was really, really strange to see her so off balance with the way that the crowd reacted, and then them booing her and not letting her get a word in edgewise. And um, I think it might have been friend of the show, Pat Martin, said, man, why didn't she just push through them? It might have even been Tom. Hell, it might have been both of them. Why didn't she just push through the booze? Why didn't you lean into it? Uh, because that wasn't the same confident Charlotte Flair that we're used to seeing. For whatever reason, that Chicago crowd got under her skin and put her in a place where she had to look at her watch under Tiffy time, but
So the dirt sheets are saying that this was like legitimate, like they don't like each other.
Yes, that is a thing, and I guess what had happened was a couple of weeks ago, Tiffany got run over in the in-ring promo.
She did,
and she kind of took it personally, and they've had a little bit of heat. And somebody gave her the advice to not let Charlotte run her over. So she didn't let Charlotte run her over. And the Chicago crowd kind of helped.
Sure did.
But there has been a lot of critics, though, too, that Tiffany didn't look real good in this promo segment. Looked very unsure of herself.
She looked like she didn't want Charlotte to punch her.
As on her heels as Charlotte was, the things Tiffany was saying, I don't think came from a place of genuine business. I think that they were reactionary, and she didn't know what to do with the moment either, which continues to lend credence to why this is not a WrestleMania main event.
Yes, I agree. I think this goes on first some night, whether it's one or two, or maybe second, actually. Ugh.
Are they going to be able to get in the ring after all of this together? I mean, this isn't Charlotte and Becky we're talking about.
I think if they don't, somebody gets fired, or both of them do.
They're gonna be able to make this work.
I think they're going to be giving them some sort of ultimatum of like, you're going to make this work, or you're not going to work here.
You know who I think has the most to lose from this situation?
Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah. Because Charlotte
let's not pretend like Triple H won't have her drop the belt this week and put her in catering until her contract expires.
I mean, this is Charlotte Flair we're talking about here at the end of the day, and I think maybe that's kind of what the internet's problem is here. And we've not really shied away from it either, but this was not good television.
No, this was,
and it makes me want to watch this match more.
Well, so there was points in time during this, and like I'm looking at because this only lasts like 6 minutes after intros and all that shit.
Long 6 minutes, bud.
Like there are points in time where like just fucking get on with it. Like as you're watching it, it's like I know only 30 seconds have passed, but just fucking get on with it. And man, yeah, this like I don't know how you tank something so hard in 6 minutes. They cut this down to like 15 or 20 seconds on the recap shows, but this went 6 minutes. So they cut this went over 6 minutes. So they cut 6 minutes after this of 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Like this, it was man, like they're not in cutting stuff out of live TV, cutting moments and things, and like having stuff go up late because they had to cut 6 minutes of this for practical reasons to not make everybody look stupid is egregious. And now it's like, okay, you get one more chance because it's fucking WrestleMania season and we've already backed ourselves into a corner. But if you fuck this up again, fuck the both of you. But Tiffany, fuck you especially, because you've got everything to lose. And we can bring Charlotte back in a year after we put her in whatever mental rehabilitation to like, because she's obviously suffering because she has issues, right? She's getting divorced. She just got back from an injury, yada, yada, yada. Tiffany, you've been on top for the whole time. What the fuck are you doing?
Charlotte's been here 15 years. You've been here 15 minutes.
Exactly. And that's exactly how it'll come down. And like, you know, everybody likes to think about like, oh, well, Triple H is such a nice guy compared to Vince McMahon. Yes, compared to Vince McMahon, he's a very nice guy. Let's not pretend like he wasn't the biggest asshole in the room for the last 12 years of his career, his in-ring career. Allegedly horrific human being to work with, according to more people than just CM Punk, but like a lot of fucking people. So let's not pretend like he doesn't have that in him to bury someone because he personally feels disappointed and he's gonna take that shit out on you. Maybe he's grown as a human. I'm sure he has in a lot of ways, but at the same time, maybe he won't be as mean about it. But I think you've got the potential to just fade back into obscurity because we've already seen this a couple times.
I don't know, man. I really hope they can get this thing back on the road, back on the rails. Cause
it was a train wreck this week.
Whew, buddy, was not good. Lots to look forward to. We continue to march towards WrestleMania. Will it be Nick Aldis? Will it be Aleister Black? We don't know. But we're damn sure going to watch. And we're damn sure going to talk about it next week. So, yeah, Tom, that puts us in a situation where we've only got one piece of business left.
World famous.
One Fall WrestleCast. Match of the week.
So I know what you think my match of the week is.
You know, I didn't really think that you were silly enough to bring that in here.
So I know what you think it is, and it's my runner-up because despite it being for the fourth or fifth time, I do enjoy Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman baiting the shit out of each other. I don't know why. It just like they don't, and it was a last man standing match, so I appreciate at least the change in format. But that's not my match of the week, despite it being my runner-up, because I did still enjoy it, and I know that you were like, I'm fucking over this, but I still had a good time because they still smacked the shit out of each other in front of Chicago. However, my match of the week comes from, and you don't shit your pants, comes from AEW Dynamite this week. It was indeed Brody King versus Lance Archer.
Didn't you just call fucking Brody King the king of the jobbers?
I did last week, but he fucking won this week. And it was big meaty men
Pickle
smacking meat. And it was, man, was it good. It was a better big meaty men beating the snot out of each other match, because there was no real, it was just a regular match. It went about 6 to 8 minutes. And did they hit each other like they only had 8 minutes to like live. And it was so great. And Brody King came out on top, which is great because Lance Archer has kind of looked like a monster every time he's been on TV lately. So he's looked very formidable. And to have Brody King, who I admit has been on quite the losing streak as of late, despite it being a strong losing streak, it's been a losing streak. To have him win in such a very sort of like hard-hitting, dominant fashion was really kind of what kind of brought me back into what was otherwise a very mid AEW Dynamite. I was like, you know what? I'm having a good time again, and I'm going to finish watching the show. Had this match been a 3-minute stinker and Brody King would have lost, I'd have probably shut it off, but this saved the rest of the program for me. So that's why it's my match of the week.
I just,
you can hate it for it. You can hate it, but still.
It's wild to me. You think you know someone. You know what I mean? And then, like, it's crazy, man. Like, is that all it takes, Bob? Are you seriously that fickle? Like, it's just,
sometimes, yeah.
I'm surprised fucking Finn Balor pinning fucking Penta didn't fucking really just send your fucking little.
I thought that was too on the nose, and also there was so much. That match had so much interference that I was like, all right, this is more of a segment really than a match. So I don't want to say I dismissed it, because dismissed is the wrong word, but it was one of those things where it's like I watched it and I went, okay, well, hopefully this goes somewhere, because that's where I am with the Finn Balor thing. Is like, maybe hopefully this goes somewhere.
I mean, Kevin Owens just told us he was going to have surgery in a 10 years of Finn Balor t-shirt, so
that's fair. And a Bret Hart like
chalk line fucking jacket,
windbreaker.
How fucking dope was that?
He's been wearing that jacket.
I looked it up. It's like that thing's like $125.
He's been wearing that jacket for the last couple of
months. I might buy it. Like, that jacket's fucking sweet.
So I feel like Kevin Owens bought it a few months ago, and
dope, he's been wearing like spring little jacket.
Like, he's been wearing it every week since he bought it, and he bought it with his own money. Because, like, why the fuck would he be wearing it?
It's a dope jacket, and I have to have one. I have to have one.
It's great. Kevin Owens' jacket might be the match of the week, is the jacket.
My match of the week was Jimmy Uso versus Gunther in a non-title match. It was also really more of a segment.
I fucking told that was God, was that cool
than a match, but it was a very, very good match. Jimmy got his fucking ass kicked, and then got his ass kicked some more, and he gigged himself.
Sure did.
Which really made sense there.
Really,
WWE's use of blood there really made sense.
With Jake fucking handcuffed in the corner, God, that was cool.
And then Gunther was covered in blood, and fucking taunting Jay. Made this the internet chatter about Jey Uso not fucking deserving this spot.
Shut the fuck up.
Starting to get a little bit quiet.
It was not very vocal this week.
So, yeah. I mean, and maybe that is because Gunther's that fucking good. I don't know, man. This was a pretty good fucking match. Pretty great segment. Great build to WrestleMania. I'm here for it. I'm ready to yeet all over the place.
You were going to fix it. That's how you fix it.
On WrestleMania Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's still happening first on WrestleMania Saturday.
Main event Jay Yeet.
But like, if you're gonna fix it and you're gonna make people excited about the first match on WrestleMania Saturday, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
nailed it.
So
tremendous. Best segment this whole feud has had.
Yes, absolutely.
By 10.
Great job.
Yeah.
Great job. That's it, man. I had some other things I want to talk about, but we're 2 hours deep in this bitch.
I already had to pee.
Hey, man, check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's OME. As always, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.
What were the other things? No, I'm confused.
Oh, hey, don't forget to subscribe too.